All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a system you probably use all the time, maybe even every day, but you never actually see it. I'm talking about the Automated Clearinghouse, or ACH. This thing is like the invisible engine of the US economy, moving trillions of dollars around, and we're going to figure out exactly how it all works. I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? How your paycheck just lands in your bank account? Or how that gym membership you keep meaning to cancel just pays itself every month? Well, it's not magic, even though it kind of feels like it. It's all thanks to this massive invisible network that is, and I'm not exaggerating, the true backbone of the US financial system. So, what exactly is the Automated Clearinghouse? Well, at its core, it's just a huge electronic network that connects all the banks. Think of it as the modern-day replacement for paper checks. Instead of shipping paper around, it moves payment information electronically, and it does it in big batches. That batching part is key. It's what makes it super efficient for handling just enormous volumes of payments. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the invisible network itself. Then, we'll meet the 5 key players who make every transaction happen. After that, we'll follow a payment on its step-by-step journey, dig into what settlement really means, and finally, wrap up with why this whole network is just so important. All right, let's dive right in with the network itself. You know, if you think about your credit card, that's for fast, one-off purchases, right? Buying a coffee, grabbing something online. Well, you can think of ACH as the total opposite. It's this powerful, quiet workhorse in the background, reliably handling all those big, scheduled payments that just keep the whole economy humming along. The real secret sauce here, the thing you absolutely have to understand, is batch processing. See, when you swipe your credit card, that one transaction zips off instantly. ACH doesn't do that. Instead, it's like, hey, just send me all your payment instructions for the day. It collects them all, bundles them up, and then processes them in these huge batches. It's a pretty simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. And that is what makes it so cheap and effective for stuff like payroll and recurring bills. And just so you know, the whole system has a referee, a nonprofit called Nacha that sets all the rules of the road. Okay, so to really get how a payment makes its journey, you gotta know the cast of characters. In every single ACH transaction, there are 5 key players. Let's meet them. First up, we have the originator. This is literally who kicks the whole thing off. So for your paycheck, your employer is the originator. For your electric bill, the utility company is the originator. Simple enough, right? They're the ones who start the whole process. Now, the originator doesn't just shout their payment into the void. No, they give their payment instructions to their bank. And this bank has a special name, the ODFI. That stands for Originating Depository Financial Institution. Just think of the ODFI as the on-ramp to the ACH highway. It gathers up all the payment files and gets them ready to merge into traffic. Okay, once the payment is on the highway, it heads to the ACH operator. This is the central sorting hub for the entire system. And get this, there are only 2 of them in the entire country, the Federal Reserve and the Clearinghouse. Their job is basically to be the ultimate traffic controller. They take these massive batch files from all the banks and sort every single payment, making sure it's pointed to the right destination. So after everything's been sorted, the files are sent off to the destination bank. This one is called the RDFI, or the Receiving Depository Financial Institution. And if the ODFI was the on-ramp, you guessed it, the RDFI is the off-ramp. It gets the specific bundle of payment instructions that are meant for its customers. And that brings us to our final player, the receiver. This is the end of the line, the final destination. If we're talking about your paycheck, congratulations, you are the receiver. If it's a bill payment, the company you're paying is the receiver. It's simply the person or company whose account is about to be credited or debited. Okay, now that we've met the whole crew, let's see them in action. We're going to follow a really common example that I'm sure you're familiar with, getting paid through direct deposit. So let's imagine an employee named John Smith. He works at XYZ Printing Company, and he's all set up for direct deposit. We're going to follow his paycheck from his boss all the way to his bank account. Okay, so here's the journey and 5 simple steps. First, the most important part, John has to authorize it. He tells his employer it's okay to send his pay directly to his account. Step 2, his employer, who is the originator, creates that payroll file and sends it to their bank, the ODFI. Step 3, the ODFI sends the file over to the ACH operator, who does all the sorting. Step 4, the operator sends just John's payment info to his bank, the RDFI. And finally, step 5. On payday, the RDFI gets that instruction and posts the money right into John's account. And just like that, John is the happy receiver. Now, I know this might look like a crazy wall of code or something, but it's really just a map of the journey we just walked through. Every line, every number here represents a piece of that path, from the very first instruction from the originator all the way to the money landing in the receiver's account. This is the kind of precise data that's in every ACH file, making sure everything follows a super clear and predictable path.
But wait a second, we've been talking a lot about information and files moving around, but what about the actual, money? Where is it? Well, that's the final and maybe the most critical piece of this whole puzzle.
Yeah, this is a really important point. Everything we've talked about up until now has just been about moving payment instructions. It's basically a series of digital messages. The banks haven't actually swapped any cash yet. That all happens in the final step, a process called settlement. Settlement really is the grand finale, and it's all handled by the Federal Reserve. The easiest way to think about it is this. The Fed moves the actual funds from the originating bank's big master account over to the receiving bank's big master account. That is the moment the money officially changes hands. Until that settlement happens, everything else we've talked about is really just a promise to pay. So after all that, why should you care about this invisible network? Well, because it's the quiet, reliable engine that moves trillions with a T of dollars every single year. It powers everything from your paycheck to Social Security payments, your automatic bill pays. Let's put this into perspective real quick. You've got card networks like Visa or MasterCard. Those are built for right now transactions, right? Buying coffee, shopping online. They're super fast, but they're also more expensive. Then you've got ACH. That's the workhorse. It's built for those planned, recurring payments. And that batch model we talked about, that's what makes it so ridiculously cheap and efficient for all those predictable, high-volume money movements. And hey, don't think for a second that this decades-old system is just stuck in the past. We live in an on-demand world, and the pressure for speed is changing everything, including ACH. In fact, the volume of same-day ACH payments just grew by a staggering 74%. 74%! That just goes to show you that the network is evolving. It's getting faster to meet our modern needs, all without giving up that legendary reliability. So the next time that paycheck magically appears in your account, you'll know. You'll know about the invisible journey it took through this incredible network. For decades, ACH has been that silent, steady engine humming along in the background. But as our world demands that everything be instant, the really big question is, how does a system that was built for reliability and massive scale adapt to a future that's all about speed?